child doesn't owe you that.
Mm. Let's go to the famous Fresh Prince episode. I'm sure you know about.
I have that. I have that on my Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes, that little montage is very, very emotional for me.
Those empty promises, man. That's got to be another trait, right? Them empty, unnecessary.
Empty promise. See, as we go on, I can keep telling you more traits. Empty promises is another trait of a deadbeat father. Telling your child you're going to do something, you're going to be there, and you're going to plan something with the child, and then don't show up. Again, the effects that it has on the child makes him in turn do that to other people.
I never thought about it like that. That's actually really deep.
And you know who's the other person they're going to do it to, right? The woman that they're involved with, that has their baby. And this is the cycle that I'm trying to break. This is the narrative that I'm trying to change. Because if we understand the effects that it has on our children, maybe we should care enough to say, I won't do it.
What was your, like, you said you posted it on your page, that scene, and anybody, if you've never seen the episode we talking about, just go on YouTube. It's the Fresh Prince father scene. What was it about that scene? Very emotional scene, very relating to individuals like yourself and myself. Like, what was it about that scene that we should really take from it? Like, what did you take from it?
All right, for me, that scene is so emotional to me is because I've always felt like that, but I never had to have that moment. I've never had to cry. I never got the opportunity to cry to somebody and tell them how my father affected me. So when I seen that scene on TV, I felt it on a spiritual level because that scene was a billion black boys, how they feel, but they never got a chance to express it. And Will Smith did a masterful job for that. If they could put that scene in the movies, that one scene, he should get an Oscar just for that.
Just for that one scene.
Just for that one scene. He nailed it. And I guarantee you, see, some guys grow a tough skin with this topic, with this subject. But in the back of their mind, they really hurt by it. See, I'm secure in my manhood, so I could talk about this. But at the end of the day, when I guarantee you a million young black boys saw that scene and it touched them because it was projected in a way that we've never got to articulate our frustration. And the benefit of it was he had his uncle there to tell him that. You know, every child doesn't have someone to tell what they're going through or how they're feeling. It's so normal in the black community that it's like we supposed to just accept it and just like it's everyday life. And that's what's the scary part about it.
So why don't we
not having a father is normal in the black community. And then it's not like 90% of the fathers are dead or went to war and lost their life. The fathers is right across the street. And that's what's the most damning part of it all. How could you have a child and don't love it? How could you love a woman more than you love your own child? How could you love another child more than you love your own child that's not yours? These are characteristics of deadbeat fathers, and the child has to watch that. Your child has to watch you love another woman more than you loved his mother and more than you love him or her. Your child has to watch you love another person's child more than you love him or her. Do you know the effects of that? You're teaching them how not to love. And then it becomes a vicious cycle over and over and over again.
All right, let's go back to the empty promises you was just talking about. But obviously you want to change the narrative, so we have to be somewhat solution oriented. So these empty promises, sometimes, can't they get back on track? If somebody's a deadbeat father right now, can't they just, isn't a little bit good? Because I just want to squeeze that out. You said time is the big thing. It's not finances. So you telling your kids
right.
You're going to get them some Jordans, you're going to get them this, you're going to get them that, and you never do. There's little things that they can do, right, to still be impactful, like calling maybe once or twice a week, or sending a little letter or a card, a random card.
Let me explain something to you.
Please.
If you and your child live in the same city, right? Do you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
If you and your child live in the same city, it doesn't cost nothing to go pick them up and take a walk. Go to the park. Go swimming. Go to the movies. It costs $25. Go teach them how to fish. These are things that doesn't cost a lot of money. If you tell your child, I'm coming Saturday to pick you up at 12 o'clock, be there. That's it. It's not about the Jordans. It's not about the money. They're gonna fuck those sneakers up. They're gonna grow out of those clothes, but they're not gonna grow out of that memory of you teaching them how to fish, or you taking them to the movies, or you walking with them, and you talking to them and you asking them how is their life going, and when they tell you that they're having a problem.
I just want to be real clear. You said walk in the park. Are you literally
a walk in a park? Yes, that doesn't cost nothing.
And they'll appreciate that.
Hell yeah. Listen to me. When you're walking in the park with your child, now you're building a bond, because now while you're walking, you asking him, how's school? How's your life? So now, if a problem is in your child's life, in that walk in the park, y'all can find a solution together. Is there something bothering you, son or daughter? Yes, Dad. I had this situation with X, Y, and Z. And now you're giving them a solution to fix it. In that walk in the park, that can be taken care of.
And I wish, because even whether we're talking about that Fresh Prince episode or we're talking about our real lives, just real people's lives, those empty promises, they're usually really, really big things that they're promised.
Listen to me. I want people to understand this. The empty promises is one of the biggest things you could do to hurt your child. One of the biggest things. Being absentee and empty promises. Those are two of the main things you can do that categorizes you as a deadbeat father. Not being there at all, or making empty promises, broken promises. Because now you built that child up. The only thing to do is to let them down. So imagine how the child feels. For the whole week, they're getting prepared to go to the park or go to a game, go anywhere with their father.
And they telling
the whole
their friends, they telling everybody that they're going to be with you.
That's the worst thing you can do. If you're listening to this, right, just don't do it. That's one of the worst things you can do. An empty promise. You know? For me, as a man, I want to see everything. Never miss nothing. None of the events. But again, it's personal for me because so many events was missed of mine that I vowed never to do that. But again, as men, we have to learn how to take this negative and turn it into a positive. That's what we must do. Even if we are older and we grew up like that, we don't want to inflict that same pain on our children. That's the last thing as a man you should be wanting to do, especially if you know how it feels. If you got let down as a child, or if you had an absentee father as a child, why would you want to do the same thing to your child and have them growing up with the same emotions and feelings that you had? Think to yourself and say that. That's just wrong. And that's what I want to change. That's what I want to change. Because when it's all said and done, right, your child is going to grow up and give you back that same energy. We all going to get old. We all going to need somebody. We all going to regret certain things we've done. But just like what you were saying, is it too late? In some cases, it is too late. But if you have a child that's still developing and you're not doing the right thing, get on top of it and change it now. Because then it's not too late.
All right. So I wanted to also ask you, I saw this question floating around online, and I wanted to ask you about it. But first and foremost, you heard the, well, yeah, let me ask you now. Whose fault is it if a child is failing in school? You're frozen. All right, I can't hear you, T-Money, and you're frozen. All right, there we go.
Go ahead.
All right, whose fault is it if a child is failing in school?
That's a good question. I'll say this. It all depends on the child's education level, right? When your child starts school, after the first semester, when you get that report card, you should pay attention to it. Now, if the work is not, if the work is too hard for the child, you cannot keep the child in that setting. Now, as a parent, you could get a tutor, you can help your child. But if it still doesn't work, then you have to put him in this proper educational setting to where he can learn at his pace. So sometimes it's no one that's at fault. It's just that they're placed in the wrong setting. And sometimes parents are embarrassed, or sometimes the teachers are overworked and overwhelmed that they don't have the focus to get this child up to specs.
When you say sometimes the parent is embarrassed, do you mean like if they notice like, oh, I might have to put them back in a lower level, they don't want to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. And again, like I was saying, the teacher might be overworked or have a high student count. So it could be a lot of people at fault. But at the end of the day, the parent influential person in that question, because once you see your child's grades lagging, you should be proactive to getting them up to par or getting him in the correct setting for his educational status.
And sometimes you mentioned tutoring, and I think that's often overlooked by parents as well. But tutoring sometimes is free. I mean, sometimes you do have to pay, but in most cases at a lot of schools, you can actually get tutoring right at their school for free. So I like that.
If your child is failing, that should be the first